And now, Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell Blank. And Tyler, it's Sunday. Man, we have a lot of wrestling behind us and ahead of us. How we doing?
Yes, we do. I'm doing great, man. I'm happy to see you. I'm coming off of a busy week, as I know you are. Probably a lot of our listeners and viewers can say the same, especially those who work in education. I know we discuss it often on the show, Brad. This is a very busy season. It is a just wild time in the semester. We had students visiting campus on Friday, like over 150 high school education students from across Arizona, as far as Tucson, as a matter of fact. And won't you know, Brad Winchester, you were on my slideshow during one of my presentations, and a student raises their hand after my talk, after my lecture. And the student says, "Hey, I know Mr. Winchester. I went to Marana freshman year. I'm now at a different school, but I went there, and please tell him I say hello." Brad, I thought the hand was going to be raised and I was going to receive the praise. It would be, "Hey, I really enjoyed your presentation. Thank you for speaking from your heart."
Absolutely.
I thought, but no. The young lady wanted to put you over because you are amazing at what you do. And even during these busy seasons, we have to remind ourselves of the impact we're making, and particularly me being able to see you making that impact week in and week out, day in and day out. Your what's the word I'm looking for here, Brad? Just your influence, man. It knows no bounds. So I'm super proud of you. I'm proud of us for making it through this very busy month of November. We're only halfway through, but we're getting there.
Yeah.
And and that was a really highlight of my Friday for sure. And my mom has a birthday party next month.
Yes,
She
wild.
has a milestone,
Yes.
big one. I'm not going to reveal it on air because I do not want her to disown me.
30th. Yeah.
30th. This is true. This is a very, well, it's not true, but that is a milestone birthday. Anyway, big milestone birthday. I am one of the co-leads of this, and I did not realize, or I underestimated how stressful just event planning is in general, particularly birthday parties with big guest lists. So I'm working on that actively. I'm sure I'll have more updates as the weeks progress here on GI, but I'm great, man. I'm great. We made it through the week. I had that wonderful interaction on Friday. So big ups to you. Big ups to all of those working in schools. And I'm excited for what we're going to get into on this episode. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Shout out to my favorite Teresa. Teresa with the TH, the only one that I in particular think has made good decisions with her life. You're here.
We'll talk back soon. Don't you worry.
I know. I'm bringing it up. I have to connect all the dots. And another Teresa Antifer, being named as a finalist this year, a colleague of ours for the that Arizona Wildcat teachers gimmick. So
no way.
Really,
yeah, the
really
10
cool.
teacher gimmick. They go to the wow.
Yep, really cool. So yeah, really happy for her. And she's a great classroom teacher, and really excited for her, and proud of what she does for us and for the kids. I do miss going to those department meetings. I'm not going to lie. It's nice to have a group of people that I can talk to and go like, "What are you doing in your class?" And it matches what I'm doing in mine. Where now it's like, "What are you doing in my class?" I'm like, "Well, we put a car together today, and we did a bunch of photography stuff, and oh yeah, we made cakes." And I'm over here going like, well, "All right." Doesn't help me any. So I do miss having that in my corner, because it's
such a great outlet. They were so,
it is a lonely place. Yeah.
They were so early though, Brad. It was 7:15 on Friday mornings when it got cold,
7:15.
when it was dark and cold. So from November through February, I struggled with getting up for those.
Yeah.
Literally sometimes. But like you said, the camaraderie of it, you just can't beat it because you are in the trenches and being able to bounce ideas. And in my case, really, I know I said that kind of for shock value, but actually learning from veteran teachers who are just brilliant and empathetic, and much like my co-host, those were really happy times, even if they were just so early to talk about grading, and not just to eat, not just to have a potato bar, but to actually talk about rubrics. And it was just
unit planning. Yeah, standard.
Like it was like high level.
We're gonna unpack standard RL4 today.
I have to bring coherent,
smart
thoughts, and that was not always easy during that period of my life.
To that point, I know I'm a teacher, so it feels like a pat on my own back, but my job is probably a little bit different than a lot of teachers' jobs right now in the classroom. I have a traditional classroom setting, and then I have a non-traditional classroom setting, which right now is just a nothing because we can't do anything. I feel really badly about this, where I'm like, okay, we could do another one of these assignments that just feels like busy work, or we can just sit here and wait and like it until they're done with the auditorium renovations. It's that I remember vividly talking to our previous SRO on campus who would go and teach on occasion in classrooms about various topics, drug enforcement and mental health policies, and just criminal justice in general, whatever it might be. And I remember talking to him after a day of all day in classroom teaching, and he was sitting in the office on a chair, and he just looked haggard and tired and like he didn't want to move. And he was like, I don't know how the hell you guys do this every day. And when you have one of the biggest tough guys I've ever met in my life, like legit tough guy in shout out to now retired Rob Quackenbush. When you have that guy going, yeah, this is much harder than I thought it would be. I feel like I can't think of a better way to go. Yeah, this is a difficult profession. And I don't think people that aren't in it or haven't ever been around it or in it can really truly understand what it's like to create your own job and then go do it, and then do it repeatedly while navigating are there any questions about the assignment? Hand goes up. Can I go to the bathroom? Like the rage that you have to suppress when somebody does that. Just like the terrible timing, right? Like, no, do you have an insightful question about what we're doing? Can I extend your learning in any way? Can I clarify anything that's happening? No, you just got to piss. All right. There's nothing that makes me want to hurl something across the room faster than that.
And where's the bathroom pass? No one knows where the
It's all they're on lanyards and they're all hanging up because we don't do those traditional bathroom passes we were doing before. Because that was just a dumb system, man.
Very good.
I
remember using
football getting thrown on the roof.
Yeah. Expo like erasers because the previous bathroom pass was lost. I just okay. I just need to redesign this whole thing because this is not the bathroom pass will be lost at some point if you're not prepared. So have a plan B. But Brad, you're right though. We've talked about this on air and off air, and we'll continue to do so. I want to echo what you said and bring in. It is completely a grind. And then you have moments. Well, I had a moment on Friday with that wonderful young lady who remembers you fondly. And you also had a big moment this week of a student giving you an incredible memento.
Yeah, it is it was potentially the last game for the girls flag football team. It is not the last game though. They won their game on Saturday. It was at 2 p.m. at the Marana High School football field. I was so sad I wasn't able to go. My first thing that I said when I got this gift was, I'm incredibly thankful. I'm touched. I'm so sorry I'm not going to be able to go to your game. Because right now life is really difficult to navigate. And she gave me her jersey. She gave me her jersey. The kids were able to give a jersey to teachers that made an impact on them. And eventually it's going into a frame, and then it's going up onto the wall. And for the senior night for football teams, for men's football, usually they give you a jersey to wear to the game. And I put that jersey on, Tyler.
I'm glad. I know where you go. Please continue to cook.
It's like putting on a latex glove on my upper body. It did not. Yeah, the women's small did not fit me the way that I think that
those jerseys never fit adults properly.
No, and it's the tank top. So it was like, all right, it was welcome to the gun show, and also welcome to Pillsbury dough all over the place. Just my white ass spilling out of that thing. So it was aggressively disgusting to look at. But I know if I get like a black background into a frame and have that set in the middle of it, it's going to look really, really good. So I'm excited about that. Just really honored that somebody would think of me that way and want to show their I don't know, their appreciation, I guess the word, for our relationship over the last several years. And I think that's something that doesn't get accounted for. If, I have some students right now, Tyler, that I've had for 3 straight years. And if one of them that I've had this year for the third straight year decides to be my TA, I'll have them their entire time in high school. And 4 out of the 18 years that they've been alive, and if you want to really break it down, 4 out of the, let's say, 14 years that they've really been aware of what's happening and can form memories, permanent memories, have been spent with me. And during that time, I probably spent more hours with them than their own family. And it is such a strange thing to know that we have those impacts on people, good or bad, that we might not know how much that means to them. I know how much it means to me. I also know how difficult it is as I age and forget people. And people will be like, "Hey, do you remember me?" And no, you were 3 feet tall. You were covered in pimples. You weighed 9 pounds, and now you're taller than me. You have a full beard. Like, how am I going to know who you are? So sometimes I feel really badly about that, but it's moments like this where I'm like, oh yeah, this is why right here. This is why. So I got a why moment this week. It just, I don't know, it's one of those things you put on a long list of reasons to want to do this job. So for those of you that are on the fence about this profession, it is really, really difficult. It is challenging. It is time consuming. Yes, all those other things are true. We do get fall break, spring break, winter break, summer break. None of them are paid time off, to be clear. But we do get all of that time off, which is an awesome incentive if your kids are in the district with you, because you got their time off. You don't have to ask for it. You're already off with them. That is awesome. But it's the other stuff too. It's the other stuff that makes it worthwhile. And if you're doing it for the money, you're doing it for the wrong reason. But the money for when we work, it's not that bad. I know everybody complains about it, but honestly, for what I get to do, not what I have to do, but what I get to do, I feel like it's worth it. For what I have to do, of course it's not. But for what I get to do, it's totally worth it. Again, on a long list of things, but I know, Tyler, that we have a long list to get to. We have so many things on this list today. I'm not sure if you gave a rundown, but today we have, we're gonna get into the the Golden Bachelorette in a second here with a rose from Tyler. We got to talk WWE. We got to talk AEW. We're gonna give the state of 19, and I know somewhere in there we're fitting in some Tyson, Jake Paul. So, Tyler, let's get into it. Let's hear your thoughts. Fill us in on what happened this week with another rose from Tyler. Cue the music.
And now, for a rose from GI's most eligible bachelor.
All right, Brad, you're right. We had the season finale.
Hopefully series.
Freudian slip, as they say, of the inaugural Golden Bachelorette season with Joan Bassos, former school administrator. So quick rundown of what went down. The show opened with Chalk and Joan's date, and then eventually took us to the next day, in which Joan took the initiative to visit Guy's room, which is never a good sign, visiting his room before the date. And she shared with Guy that she was just further along in the relationship with Chalk, which was very predictable. I called this. She mentioned never intending to hurt Guy, and then Guy was very respectful about it and understanding, and he said while hugging her, "I know we would have been so happy together." And this moment was a reminder of the stakes of Golden Batch, whereas viewers were really thinking, oh shoot, this could really be the last shot that some contestants have to find love. And in my opinion, particularly in Guy's case, he's an ER doctor. He's very handsome. I'm sure that he'll be okay after this show, but the emotional weight, the gravity of these breakups, obviously we feel it tenfold as compared to a standard Bachelor or Bachelorette season. There was a Hakeem cameo, so there were other former contestants in the audience, not only from Golden Batch fame, but from other Bachelor seasons. So that was fun to see their faces pop up and react to watching the episode. Chalk ended up proposing to Joan. Of course, Joan said yes. We eventually got a preview of Grant's season. So Grant is going to be the next Bachelor. He made it to about top 5 in Jen's season. He's beloved by all of Batch Nation. So Brad, my rose this week, because we're going to take a little bit of a break from this segment. It's a very important rose. I am giving my rose to the Batch Brain Trust So production, the shot callers, they were finally able to land the plane on this season. There was about 3.5 million viewers for this
Wow.
finale, which was by far the most viewed episode of the season.
That's
Well past even the debut. It is indeed. So I got to give it up. They pulled it off. I didn't know that they always would. Remember when they brought Gary Turner back? It's like, wait, I think you're actively antagonizing your audience. This is not going to be good. Yeah, this is not going to be good. So they make, and maybe it's kind of expected that they're going to make those a few decisions during each season where it's like, wait, what are they doing here? But they landed the plane. 3.5 million viewers is 3.5 million. And then finally, we don't yet know officially who the next Golden Bachelor will be. Could it be Charles? We spoke about that last week. Could it be Mark, Kelsey's dad? It seems like he may actually be the sneaky front runner. Maybe Jonathan.
I would love it to be Jonathan, man.
Has a breakup. We know he's in a relationship now, but who knows? We want all these people to be happy. Brad, it was an eventful season in many ways. The guys got along. There was no real drama. Joan found her boo. Chuck proposes. It was a season. Those are my thoughts on the finale of the Golden Bachelorette. We did it.
Wow. You know, it's funny because Jess said yesterday, and I was like, well, we don't have time for this. But on the DVR right now, currently on the DVR is The Curse of Oak Island. It has started back up. I'm so excited. I have not caught this episode. I imagine that after the summer and the winter, or heading into the spring, whenever they make their way up to that island, that there's probably been quite a bit of flooding. So excited to get into that, see what happens. So hopefully I'll have some updates on what's going on digging deeper with hopefully a newer and much shorter intro. There's a long ass intro to that segment. Tyler, we have so much to get into. There's been a lot going on with the world of WWE. They have storylines coming out of their ears, and I'm really excited to see it next week, which is insane to say. So next week we will, on the day that our episode releases, we will be together live in person. We will have a live event Jones to get into, I'm sure, on the following week's episode. Super excited. But until then, hit me with your WWE question.
Yeah, we will. Lots to look forward to. So for WWE, I'm going to get right to the point here. We witnessed some major developments in the saga, the continued saga of the Bloodline Civil War. Bronson Reed is the new Bloodline's fifth man, and Roman Reigns called Paul Heyman only to learn that the wise man's number is no longer in service. This was at the conclusion of SmackDown. Brad, we're just under 2 weeks from Survivor Series. How do you see Paul Heyman's story within this rivalry playing out?
Oh man, I don't know. This one's a tough one because of all the ties he has to other talent. I can see him going back to CM Punk. I can see him as a way in for because Brock's officially not done. So I can see Brock coming back, much to my chagrin. But after all of the stuff was released, I'm good. But also I feel like there's the one obvious part of this Bloodline saga that people seem to keep forgetting after Sami Zayn saying, I got somebody, I'll make some calls. And then there's the Braun tease, and there's all kinds of things going on. And the Rock's right there. Like the Rock is right there. It's the Rock. It's the Rock, right? Like it's the Rock. Like that's the only thing that makes sense to me right now is it's the Rock. And who else would have that kind of power or pull other than the Rock? Like Rikishi's not walking through that door. The way
I don't think he is. No.
The way that he's buried the booking and all that stuff too. It's like, no, he's not. Right. It's not going to be him. So I don't really know. Zilla. Like I don't really know. It's not Samoa Joe. So I don't really know what's going to happen here, man. I really truly am confused as to where this is going to go, which is the best kind of way to feel about it. Maybe he just taking a break. Maybe he cut himself off so that he could just report right to the Rock, because the Rock is the entire time felt like, no, he's the leader of the bloodline. He's above all these jabronis. Like, and that makes sense to me for him. Like, I would love for this to come to a head and then him show up and like, just be like, no, it's me. I'm the head of the table. I always have been. I was here before you. I'm better than you. I've won more than you. And just take it from everybody. Like, who would say no to it?
Yeah, it's hard to argue.
Right. So
Red 1 is out. That just dropped on Friday. Maybe Freya's interested in it. I don't know that it. Apparently, it's not going to do well in the box office.
No, I actually have it in my what did we miss?
Oh, okay. Okay. Moana's coming out later this month. He's
gonna be making money, but
boss.
I want to go see this Red 1 thing. I love all the actors in it, and it looks like it's a lot of fun. Like, I want to go see it.
Yeah, good cast.
I want to. Lucy Liu, Chris Evans. We got The Rock. We got there's a bunch of people in this movie. To have J.K. Simmons as Santa. Yeah, I'm in. I want to go see that.
A buff.
Well, he's always been yoked like J.K. Simmons.
I didn't know
buff
that.
Santa. Yeah,
I didn't realize that. I may have missed the role.
Yeah,
haven't been.
Dude's been cut the whole time. It just doesn't seem like it. He has a face of somebody who's not, and then he takes his shirt off, and you're like, oh, holy shit, there it is. I don't know how else to describe it. Like, that guy's like, yeah, kind of classically known for being in the gym and lifting weights. But yeah, I think I don't know, man. Like, it just looks fun. It looks silly and fun. It looks like a Christmas movie that almost everybody could get behind, and it's family friendly, and it incorporates elements, and it's a different take on this whole story, because we've seen Santa gets kidnapped or Santa's in peril movies before.
Yeah.
Violent Night.
Arnold Schwarzenegger has to save Christmas. We've seen it all.
Exactly. So yeah, why not? Why not this? We've seen this in cartoon form in some way or another. So do it live, and I think it'll be fun because the actors and the stars in it are great. And I definitely want to go check it out. But like, it'd be a pretty easy move for him to promote his movies and come out and also be like, I'm the head of the table. So I think him coming out with Paul would make a ton of sense, because I don't know who else it would be.
Interesting.
What do you got?
First, I love that you zagged on Red 1. I love that for us. There's been so much negative publicity about it, but I was
excited the second I saw the trailer, because it's like,
wow,
I like a
zag.
I like a campy Christmas movie. I'm like, who cares? Like, why are people upset about this? Like, it's a freaking movie.
Yeah.
Like, why are you mad? Don't go see it if you don't want
I think some of it may still be just that conversation about The Rock and where we're at in his acting career, coming off of the highs and lows. We know Adam.
You mean when he said, like, yeah, I'm going to do more serious films than he did Red 1?
Yeah.
Like that? Yeah.
And he's on GQ. I think he was named Entertainer of the Year or Man of the Year. I just watched a YouTube video about that. Anyway, Brad, love the zag there. In terms of Paul Heyman, you're right. The beauty of this story, so much of it is magnificent, but it's that there can be so many different directions that it can go in. It's not a foregone conclusion what's going to happen next week or at Survivor Series, or certainly leading into Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. I don't know that we're going to see Paul Simmons. Who is Paul Simmons? Paul Heyman and J.K.
Richard's brother. Yeah.
Perhaps. Yeah. I don't know that we're going to see Paul Heyman before Survivor Series. I don't think this is necessarily setting it up where this Friday we're going to see Paul.
No,
or even the following Friday.
It would be, we don't know if we have that man, and then Paul Heyman comes out
at the event. Yeah, 100%, right.
100%.
Get us to tune in. Of course, we're all going to tune in.
Yeah, we're watching
the
anyway.
show on the 30th. But yeah. I think at that point, I mean, I know the tease is there. Is he going to join forces with The Rock? I think that tease will certainly continue, but ultimately I see him going directly back to Roman and joining this OG bloodline and hugging Sami Zayn. And after that, we'll see what happens. Like you said, he is tied to other talent across the roster, but I think it's going to be directly going back. Paul Heyman, that is, going back to OG bloodline. And I think they're going to leave Canada. I think they're leaving Survivor Series victorious.
I didn't know.
But Bronson Reed is also a large, scary man. So
he is, but he loses big matches. I'm not worried about it.
He does, unfortunately. Great spot for him.
He's always in the best spots, but I also don't think of him as, like, right now. I don't know. I don't see him as, like, the top guy. I just don't. Maybe this will get them there, give him some more credibility with this, but I liked it better when he was always in a suit early on when he came back. I really liked that for him. And it's just like when you come out as big Bronson Reed and he's like Godzilla, he's a kaiju on his monitor thing. Like, he's not the tallest guy in the world. He's kind of a bowling ball that can lift a house above his head. So I just, whenever I see him come out and he's like this massive human being, but he looks dwarfed by people that are just way taller than him, I'm like, okay, it kind of takes this guy is unstoppable threat away from it a little bit when he looks small compared to some of the other people that are out there. I think they just have to do a better job of picking their spots where he's going to be booked and have him crush people that are slightly smaller than him. But maybe this will be a way, because Roman sold the hell out of that splash. Like that, he just got hit with a wrecking ball being dropped in a cartoon. So that was really cool. I would not want to take that. I love Bronson Reed. I just want him in a better spot where they build him to be a bit more credible. And it feels like they're going there with this. Who's the answer to him? I guess is the best question.
I thought I saw a spoiler online as to who OG Bloodline's 5th member is, which makes so much sense. So I have the answer for you.
Is it Randall?
No.
Oh, what's the answer?
If what I saw is correct,
Spoiler. Earmuffs, everybody. Earmuffs. Spoilers.
Earmuffs.
What is it?
Okay, spoiler in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Seth Rollins.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Roman, Seth,
I don't know if that makes so much sense.
Bronson, Seth.
I don't know if that makes so much sense.
You don't think so? I'm pretty sure that's what I saw. I think I was just scrolling.
They never had that. They never had that rematch. The last thing that they did was Roman trying to kill Seth by having to have it broken up after a DQ. They never did anything after that. He came out to the Shield. Roman tried to execute him on stage, and then he did other things. So that's
why we got to tune into Raw.
Seth's going to be there to back him up. Roman's going to lose his shit if that happens.
The reconciliation is real.
I don't know.
I'm almost positive I saw that. I know like people were saying, oh, what about Cody Rhodes? If my memory is correct from last week, I shared with you it was a busy week. I'm almost positive what I saw was Seth Rollins.
Well, hopefully that is true, Tyler, and hopefully that it takes 2 weeks for them to get together in the ring. I'd love to see that in Phoenix.
That would be great.
Phoenix, a city named after a firebird, is a good place to have a lot of fire and to burn it down. Tyler, my question's pretty swift, pretty brief. I loved the way Raw opened. Early Raw, turning it on, having people walking around and steps, but the first entrance hits. First entrance music is the whole place goes dark, and it's Gunther. I loved that segment between him and Priest going like, "You don't have it. You lost the vibes. It's gone. That aura is gone, and I'm going to take your stuff. You never would have beaten me." And then Kaiser comes out. It's been tense there for a little while. Kaiser's been on a next level journey for himself for a little bit here. And I know they're super high on him in the back. Is this the time, Tyler, where we're finally going to get a Kaiser push?
I would love that. I don't know how confident I am in that happening.
Well, let me rephrase that. Before the end of the calendar year, or as soon as the Royal Rumble.
I would say Rumble. Rumble is much more likely. You and I have seen him live. We've obviously watched him time and time again on television. Yeah, he's great at what he does. I think Rumble is far, far more likely than the end of this calendar year. But also, you're right, Brad. Big shout out to Damian Priest. Post Judgment Day, he's been phenomenal.
That
crowd
is so well, getting him to be a huge baby face the crowd loves, not just a baby face.
The crowd is really taken to him, and I wonder how much of this, I mean, it's due to his talent and his work and the writing, certainly. I wonder how much of it too is the release of that documentary on Peacock to coincide with his big year about this is who Damian Priest is. I think when you show your talent behind the scenes and we learn, and Damian Priest, there's not, to my knowledge, there wasn't a lot of readily available info about his upbringing and about his life, unless you really took the time to Google it. So for them to spotlight Priest and his story as a person growing up in New York, his struggles with his weight, with his mental health, with just trying to make it and trying to make his dream a reality. Then he gets into ROH and he gets into NXT, and here we are. I think that's also part of why the crowd has resonated with him in such a strong way. Is these superstars feel really relatable. Brad, I can't relate to being 6'7" and choke slamming dudes, but I can relate to oh man, you're just trying to follow your dreams, and it's not always clear, it's not always easy, but you keep pushing forward, and eventually you may get some big breaks and be able to make it happen. So big year for Damian Priest. I hope we're on the precipice of a big year for Kaiser, but I do think that'll be closer to Royal Rumble time.
I think to your Priest point, I think it's probably way more about how they've talked about the things that he's overcome on the show and not the documentary itself. I haven't watched the documentary, not all the way through. I've watched part of it. I don't know how much of the regular audience has watched it, but every time I've seen something like that, it just makes me want to cheer for those people so much more, given what he had to overcome and like where he got there. To your point, like I remember when he was in NXT and you were super high on him way before he went to the main roster. You're like, this guy is awesome. And you were big Priest fan before he
Bow and Arrow Jones, the Archer of Infamy.
The Archer of Infamy.
We remember.
Yeah, of course. And so you were in terms of him being there in WWE, you were a day one Priest fan. And that's what he came into the WWE as, the Archer of Infamy. But it just sort of, it was working, but not like, it's sort of the way that like, I don't know that NXT super translated well with going right from NXT to the main roster without a significant introduction, gimmick change, something like that. They don't all hit. Look at Gargano, like what they've been building DIY for a while, and they've pushed them and done that. The pop when they come out still is kind of like, and I don't get it personally because I don't know. I think that style probably fits better in AEW given his size, or TNA or something like that. I think he would be a megastar in either of those places. But for whatever reason, the Priest storyline, the representation, all of those things he has working for them, but like being in the Judgment Day and being a despicable heel for a long time, only to then have it flip and realize like, no, he's actually, we got to root for this guy. And now we have even more reason to root for him, was totally awesome. Kind of starting when he won the championship, right? Like that was probably when it really took off for him.
I would say so. And I don't know that it was a given that post Judgment Day, post Money in the Bank cash in, that it was going to work well, but he's really put in the work, and the audience has said, no, we like this guy. We're into this character. We're here for it. I love it. Frankly, I think it's a little bit surprising. I was a bit concerned after this Judgment Day storyline wears off, what is next for him? And he's really taken to it and has done a great job. I think we for sure will see him as world champ at some time in the future. Probably not at Survivor Series, but I would love a second non-Money in the Bank Damian Priest world title run.
The only way I could see that happening,
I
could see that happening if and only if it leads to Kaiser trying to interfere, because he already called him street trash. And then Gunther turning babyface when Kaiser attacks him, or the vice versa. I don't know if you can be like, babyface Kaiser because Gunther dominates him. And then I don't know that people are going to do that after he called him street trash. Like, I don't think that's a thing you can do.
Babyface Gunther would be interesting.
Like still a murderer, but
yeah, it could work because he's so good. That would just be such a different presentation.
I don't even know if they would have to change it up. He could talk the same exact way to opponents. Just he wouldn't be able to say it to the fans the same way. And as long as he keeps everything the same, I think it would work. Because you just have to have him facing off against despicable heels and saying that stuff.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
Instead of cutting those promos on like Cody Rhodes.
Right. And that's eventually going to be a WrestleMania match.
Yeah.
At some point.
And maybe he does do that when Cody turns. We'll see. I doubt he will, but I hope he will. I want to see a heel Cody Rhodes in this persona. We haven't seen it.
Yeah, we got a little bit of an edge on SmackDown, the way he was stepping to Nick Aldis, talking spicy.
Yes.
Little sprinkle. Shout out to Mike Steph, 19 Media Group. A little sprinkle of something there.
Well, speaking of Mike Steph and 19 Media Group, it's time to get into it. Let's get into the state of 19 Media. Play the music.
Late breaking news from the world of 19 Media.
Jessica and Carmen released the 3rd edition of A Prude Awakening. They welcomed Suzanne Bond, CEO of I hate having to say Spanish things, Esperanza and Escalante for a special service and sacrifice episode. God, that was white. They discussed why veterans face homelessness, how Suzanne's organization works to find solutions in Tucson, and more. You can follow Jessica at Jestamu and Carmen at Carmen J. McDonald.
Desmond of Hip to the Games dropped a new episode. He discusses Grammy nominations, the surging Cleveland Cavaliers, and whether it's time to panic in Milwaukee and Philadelphia. You can follow the show at Hip2, that's the number 2, the Games.
I do want to shout out my Pistons for not being as bad as last year, so that's good. It's a low bar, but I'm glad. Also, shout out to the Green Bay Packers. They pulled off a 1-point win today, and it wasn't looking good the last time that I looked. My mom texted me while we were discussing the last Damian Priest segment. Warren hosts dope interviews and others, welcoming guests from Hollywood, the hardwood, and more. In case you missed it, in his last episode, he sits with social media influencer Nard. Is this Nard Live Free? Nard Live Free? I have no idea how to say that. I really feel good about this. To discuss his app, Cook Like Me, tune in and follow the show at dope_interviews. I feel set up.
Not at all. Nard Live Free and Cook Like Me. You killed it, Brad.
I thought it said Nardi. I was like, Zach Nardi's doing a podcast?
No,
like,
it's
kid I graduated with. All right.
The way it's stylized is very unique and very cool. Yeah, shout out to Warren. Great interview there. Speaking of Warren, Cal and the one and only Warren Shaw dropped a new installment of the Baseline NBA podcast. They discussed the resurgence of the Golden State Warriors, including Steph Curry's early brilliance. You can follow them at NBA Baseline.
Gerald of Heavy in the Paint welcomed the team at All Ball TV to dissect the biggest surprise teams and disappointments of the NBA season thus far. You can follow Gerald at Gerald Bliss BLSS. I don't know. I usually say I got to quit drinking before this, but I think from here on out I got to start or something. This is embrace the mess, but man,
we embrace it. Late Night Lake Show is in full effect. Join Ricky and Kwame as they discuss early rotation changes for the Lakers and break down headlines across the league. You can follow them at Late Night Lakers.
Mo and Mike are on fire at Hidden Gems Football, not literally. Releasing new weekly episodes ahead of NFL action. Mike also released a new episode of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steff, sharing his thoughts on the presidential elections aftermath. Follow them at Mike Steffens _ and at A Power Mojo. Embrace the mess.
Yes, indeed. That's what we do. Brad, AEW Full Gear is this Saturday, and I have a question for you. As of this recording, 8 matches have been announced for the main card. I would imagine Takeshita versus Ricochet will be added very soon. Here's my question for you. What have you thought of the build to this particular Full Gear? For example, last year. Do you remember last year's main event?
No.
I didn't either until I looked it up. It was MJF versus Switchblade Jay White for the World Championship.
Wow.
We also had Julia Hart defeating Chris Statlander and Sky Blue to become TBS champion. Swerve Strickland defeated Hangman Adam Page in the Texas Death Match.
That's right. That I remember.
It's already a year ago. And we know even prior to that, Full Gear has had a pretty strong history. Of course, Hangman Page defeated Kenny Omega years ago to win his first world championship in the company. So big show for them. Again, my question for you.
Oh, that was Lucha Bros beating the Young Bucks in that one too, right? Because they came back out at the end. Yeah.
Right. Great call. So 2-part. What have you thought of the build to Full Gear 2024? And which match's outcome, if you had to choose one, are you feeling most eager to see? Or maybe a different way to phrase it, most unsure about?
I don't know. I'm going to say it's what's likely going to be the main event. Jon Moxley, Orange Cassidy, I think is probably the one right now. But I also feel like that's the obvious one. So I'm going to go Stat and Mercedes is the one. And, you know, it was implied that maybe it won't just be Stat there. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. So this week Stat's going to be wrestling Sheeta when Sheeta was like, I want to crack at the title when you win it. And then it was like, well, why wait? Let's just fight. And I was like, all right, well, Sheeta's going to go away for a long time again. Then that sucks. That seems to be what's going on there. I want to see more of these women on TV. I really and truly don't know. Is this when we get maybe at this time, maybe this is when Tay Conti comes back. Maybe this is when we get a return. Maybe she comes back to help out Stat. I can't imagine she's going to help out Anna Jay do anything. Anna Jay's been doing lots of things in big spots that match this week. Oof. So I guess I'll go Stat and Mercedes Moné, but I could just as easily say the main event. And I feel like that's probably the one, because it does feel like this, if it's going to happen, Orange Cassidy's time is now. I can't see it being any other time. It'd be a great time to have him as champ, give him a couple of big matches, maybe have a short run, but doing it for the soul of AEW seems pretty big. How about you?
Right. And the Death Riders storyline has really just started. I don't know about you, Brad. It's I'm not in love with it yet, but it feels like it's been going on longer than it actually has.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking of
just
Darby
one
Allin.
note. It doesn't feel any different than it just feels like they went, hey, it's Blackpool Combat Club, but no Bryan Danielson. That's just basically what and then they're like, we're not going to show the belts. We'll put them in a backpack. And then there's Marina, and that's the difference. We do like
Marina Shafir getting TV time. I don't know how intentional this is, but as my dad said, when this group officially formed, it does feel very NWO like.
Yes.
And I know in many ways AEW has kind of adopted the spirit of ECW and WCW, but it's really feeling NWO for me, and I don't know that is a great thing. And I just keep thinking about Darby Allin continues to insert himself in this storyline, even though he's not on the full gear card as of this recording. And to me, unless something major changes, the storyline is he will defeat Jon Moxley, simultaneously getting revenge on Mox, and to your point, Brad, saving the soul of AEW. But you flipped it back on me. Thank you for that. To answer this question, the match I'm most excited for is Mercedes versus Chris. I think Mercedes is going to retain. Swerve versus Lashley should be awesome. We got your boy Will Ospreay. I think you like Kyle Fletcher as well.
Yeah,
we got your man's.
How can you?
We got your man's Will
That's
Ospreay versus
huge.
Kyle Fletcher. It's going to be awesome.
Yep.
I'm really eager to see Private Party defending their titles on a pay-per-view for the first time. I suspect they will retain. The Outrunners get their first pay-per-view match. So lots to be excited for here. However, in terms of a finish specifically, it's not that I'm most unsure of the finish. It's actually the quite opposite. I'm really excited to see Daniel Garcia become TNT champion. He has to beat Jack Perry. No shenanigans, nothing fugazi. It's in Jersey. Garcia's from Buffalo. This is the time to crown him. Big moment. We first had Private Party getting crowned. I think DG is up next. That is the finish that I want to see most, is finally he gets his coronating moment. I think it's going to be great business. And I think the match will also be better maybe than many of us are expecting. Not that we expect it to be a bad match, but I think in terms of excitement level, the TNT match is maybe at best 4th or 5th.
Yeah.
On a lot of people's cards. To me, this finish is going to hit as strongly as anything we're going to see on the show.
Yeah, I hope so. It's not going to hit as strong as like an ROH title would in an AEW pay-per-view, but it'll be good. Tyler, I have a question for you. It's pretty simple, and it's about Harley Cameron. Okay. She's had fewer than 50 matches, but she's getting better every single time. And I don't know. I enjoy watching her work now. It's before I was like, okay, she's there. She's out there. She's giving it the old college try. She's doing the manager thing and getting beat up. And now she's doing proper matches. And it's a fun match that she had this week with Mina. She needs her own entrance music, first of all. Second of all, what do you think Harley Cameron's ceiling is in AEW?
Oh man! First of all, I love the question. We've talked about Harley Cameron in the DMs and group chats and our own.
That's why I decided to go this way.
Tags. Yeah, it was. I was
writing the question when I saw it pop up in the group chat.
No kidding.
Yeah, today you were like, yeah, Harley Cameron. She's had 49 matches.
It's long overdue.
Yeah.
Under 50 is nuts. You're right, Brad. She's just readily improved. One of the biggest winners, most improved players, most improved superstars of 2024 across wrestling. What is Harley Cameron's ceiling? It's champion for sure. I see her being a TBS title holder
Mhm.
first,
Yeah.
but she's great. The character work, the
So good.
backstage segments are
So good.
consistently
Oh, it's
some of
so
my
good.
favorite
Yeah.
on AEW television. She's just so funny. And I don't know that we always have to compare one superstar in AEW to a WWE superstar. I think sometimes it can be a little bit played out, but it's giving Chelsea Green in all the
Yeah.
best ways to me.
I was gonna say
Uh,
Iconics is what
Iconic.
yeah.
She's funny. She gets me invested in seeing her matches,
Yep.
whether it's against Thunder Rosa, that Day of the Dead match, or like you said, Collision with the returning Mina Shirakawa, which we're all very grateful for. It's Champ. I think it's going to be TBS first. I would love to see that in the new year. Harley Cameron is fantastic, and think about it. She started in QTV, and I don't
That's
know
what
that
I'm
any of
saying,
us
yeah.
thought she would be the biggest winner out of that group. And I'm glad Powerhouse Hobbs is back. Speaking of Collision, but leaving that group specifically, to me, Harley Cameron has been the
Yeah.
clear winner. I mean,
Yeah.
QT Marshall has abs now, and you know, like
But when he
he's
left
winning
that
in life
group,
too. But Harley Cameron has really come up.
when he left that group, he left AEW.
Yeah,
Like,
right,
that's
right. A
that's
little
different.
different.
Yeah,
A
that's a
little
little different.
different.
Yeah.
Harley Cameron, champion. I'm gonna say it's TBS first. She has had an amazing year, and I'm grateful that she's been getting TV time. What say you?
No, exactly the same thing. I think all of it. I have nothing to add. She's great. I can't wait to see her have a title around her waist at some point because I think it'll be the most entertaining, I think, title reign that we've had in AEW for a women's champion outside of Tony Storm, with just because of the segments. Maybe not all the matches yet, but like the segments themselves and her character work is so good. It's so different too. Like Tony Storm's was very similar in that it was so ridiculous that we started to buy in, and then we were like, all right, now we're fans of this ridiculous shenanigans that's happening, because it was so over the top. And I think she's won the crowd over with just being
Yeah,
just over the top.
she was so over that you had to make her champion.
Yep.
There was just no other option. She
Yeah.
is she is not carrying the division, but she is clearly the face of the division.
Right.
So she may not need the title, but we're gonna run with this because she's killing it. And I would love to see, Brad, to your point. And when I say Chelsea Green, I don't mean nothing about their characters are overtly similar, but just the acting prowess
Yes. Yes.
that
Yes.
both women have, and they're both super hilarious.
Yeah.
I think at some point Harley can easily switch over to being a babyface, and we're gonna actively cheer for her. I could see her becoming champion as a babyface rather than
Yeah.
you know
I agree.
a fellow heel with Soraya, and we
I
would
agree.
like Harley to have her own music for sure.
Yeah. All right, Tyler, what do we miss?
Oh man, I got one major note here. Speedball Mike Bailey is a free agent. I believe Fightful Select broke the news that he is done with his contract in TNA Wrestling, and he is likely AEW bound. He dropped the title to Moose recently on an episode of Impact, and then Trent Seven came out and turned on Mike Bailey, threw him out of the ring. So effectively, Mike Bailey appears has bid adieu. He said farewell to TNA. Really great run in that company. I have more words on Mike Bailey's run and what could be ahead if you visit gimmickinfringementpod.com. Check it out, and I'm eager to see what's in store for Speedball.
I think I have Red One was released to a $34 million opening weekend on a $250 million budget. So I don't think that movie's making its money back, but I'll go contribute 20, $25. Maybe it still needs to be in theaters when I'm done with this grad school stuff. So we'll see what happens. It's like 3 weeks away. So maybe 4. So it might be a big ask. So I'm hoping it's still there because I really want to go see it. I like going to a movie and seeing a Christmas movie before Christmas time. I don't care if it's silly and over the top, whatever. Who cares? Giant snowman. Let's go. Mike Tyson fought Jake Paul. The winner of that was the women's match. What an unbelievable match. I could not believe how fun that was to watch. Just the way that I love watching women's wrestling. If it turns out I love watching women's boxing when the boxing's that good. I was shocked at the ending, or at the result. But one of the things I wanted to say is that the Mike Tyson thing, I mean, it was hard to watch. And I don't know how much of it was I don't know how much of it was age. I don't know how much of it was Jake Paul holding back at the end there. Obviously, he was not going full tilt at Mike Tyson, but I don't think Mike Tyson was getting knocked out no matter what happened in there. Like, I just don't see it. And if a 58-year-old, pretty washed Mike Tyson can go out there and not get beat up, it says a lot about why he hasn't been boxing the top 10 boxers in the world, because Jake Paul will probably get handled pretty quickly. So overall, I thought it was a really big win for the other boxers that were on that card. It was great exposure for other people to go like, oh, look at how awesome these people are. I have no interest in watching the other fighters fight again, but the women's match was so fast and so ferocious that I'm in. The next time there's one of those, I'm definitely going to turn it on if they can fix their servers. Thank you for all the pixels, Netflix. Hopefully they can get that under control. Now, will Raw be generating 60 million viewers live? Probably not. But I hope they have that all straightened out and fixed up by the time that Raw debuts here in the next 2 months already. That's crazy.
It's coming up soon. Yeah, Brad, massive success. I saw the stat that 60 million people tuned in for this fight. And there were people from all, I'm sure you can relate to this. There were people from all segments of my life who were excited and were tuning into this. Students, colleagues, elders. So they did a really strong job marketing. And I love your POV on this, that it was really a win for the other fighters on the card, namely Amanda Serrano and you know, all the people who were beneath the main event. So love that for them. Don't love the pixels for you, but hopefully it'll be smooth sailing for us when Raw goes over there in January.
And the Jake Paul stuff, like I don't like Jake Paul. I think a lot of people don't like Jake Paul.
That's why people tune in. Yeah, he's there's no Floyd Mayweather in boxing anymore.
Yeah.
Boxing needs a supervillain. He's leaned into that, and he is making millions off that. The man has deodorant in Walmart now. I learned, Brad. I had no idea.
No, they're incredibly popular with people, and I don't get it. That's fine. Like whatever you like, I guess. I don't understand it, but that's whatever. It's, you know, you can't deny that this guy just did a lot for boxing as a whole. Made a lot of money for those other fighters. Yeah, he made a lot of money, and Tyson was only guaranteed, apparently that contract was tiered, that he only got the most amount of money if he won all 8 rounds. And that if you knocked out Paul early, it was like a huge cut. So there's all these people going like, well, that's why it took 8 rounds. And that's why he looked like that. He was trying not to knock him out right away because he didn't want it. He wanted to maximize his gains and his money. Like, I don't know. That just seems conspiracy theory stuff. But, you know, for the other fighters, they obviously were in there to fight. And I don't really care what happened in the main event because that helped them out. And it's all about making sure everybody gets fed. And I thought that was pretty cool that took place, and it happened on a huge stage. Netflix has got some production to work out. The microphones at the commentary table can't be cutting out for Jerry Jones to sit at the table and go like, yeah, it's really exciting. Can't wait to have NFL games here. And he can't eke that out because his microphone died is hilarious. They had truck issues galore. They just had a lot of problems communicating. What are we doing? What are we doing? Somebody, what are we doing? That happened a couple of times on headset. It's just like, man, this is not great. So, you know, the growing pains, I suppose. I'm sure the next one will be more polished, but it was really cool to see and gave me kind of insight into what might happen going forward with the WWE, but it's also going to be with the WWE production team that's been doing this for years. It'll simply be going on to a different platform. So I have a feeling that none of that's really going to be affected, and that they're polished. We know what we're doing. Production staff is going to have it on lock, and it'll be good.
Yeah. Well, if you all watch the fight, we would love to hear your takeaways. You can find us at GIPod19 across the social spaces. Let us know what you're thinking about Full Gear, the Bloodline Civil War, dare I say, the finale of the Golden Bachelorette. We would love to hear it all. We thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.